All right, here we go. We do it every Tuesday. Monday Night Football's over. It is our top 10, our herd hierarchy. I'm going to go with Carolina. Now, hold on. Slow down. Number 10, Carolina over Tennessee. To me, it's a coin flip. I'll just take Cam over Marcus Mariota. Here's what concerns me with both. They have to play a certain way to win. Carolina's 24th in pass offense. They're 1-3 on the road. Carolina doesn't play well from behind. Either does Tennessee. So I have a coin flip. I think these are really good teams, but the game for Tennessee and Carolina has to go a certain way. Get in the lead, run the ball, play action. I'll take Carolina at 10, slightly over Tennessee. The Chicago Bears. Listen, when the offense clicks with this defense, I mean, they got the best turnover differential, plus 13 in the NFL. They're running about 70% college offense, 30% NFL offense. They're not turning it over. Trubisky very smartly is playing the game Matt Nagy wants, and they have a terrific front seven. They rested Khalil Mack for several weeks for the home stretch, and this week they play Minnesota, so we'll know if they're for real. It's their best start through 9 games since 2012's Bears at 9. I think Minnesota's going to beat them this weekend, barely, and I think it's close. Listen, the Vikings are tied for number 1 in sacks. They're a tremendous rush defense. They'll force Trubisky to throw. So I'll take Minnesota to win that game. But my issue with Minnesota is I don't trust Kirk Cousins in big games, and they really can't run the football. They're tremendous. They're kind of like the opposite of Carolina. I get all the sizzle. I'd like a little more steak in the running game. I'll put Minnesota at 8. Houston Texans. I still think their defense is better than it's playing. I like their personnel on defense better than the results so far. But this story is about Deshaun Watson. If you can give him protection, the kid's magic. I mean, it comes down to that. They're not going to win on their defensive front. J.J. Watt's not winning playoff games. Deshaun Watson's last 3 games, 8 TDs, no picks, 132 quarterback rating. Like Andrew Luck, comes off an injury, kind of a bumpy September, but they're going to go as far as Deshaun allows them. I have the Texans at 7. New England. Again, I think at home. I think when they can, get the ball rolling, I think this is a very good football team with the best coach in the NFL and an elite quarterback. Their pass rush is hit and miss. Gronk, physically, week to week, is hit and miss. And by the way, Tom this year is 18th in completion percentage. Passer rating is 16th. I do believe this is one of those years they could really use home field in January. I don't think they can go on the road and beat a Kansas City or Pittsburgh or a Houston this year. I just don't. I cooled on the Rams about 3 weeks ago. Listen, their defense has cracks. Dante Fowler had a nice weekend, and so again, it looks like a smart acquisition. But they've allowed 30-plus points in back-to-back games. Russell Wilson gave them fits. Seattle ran the ball right at them. Now, the good news is they've scored 30-plus points in 8 of 10 games, but I think they're going to be unveiled a little bit this weekend. I think the Chiefs are going to beat the Rams. I like them a lot. But defensively, you can take the ball away from them, run the ball, and eat the clock, and I think it's their liability. Chargers. I think the Chargers may not be as talked about, as discussed. They're not the media darling. I think the Chargers have better players than the Rams. I think they've had the best receiving core in the NFL. They're doing this without Joey Bosa. I don't trust their field goal situation, but they've won 6 straight. The only player in the league with multiple touchdown passes in every game is Phillip Rivers. They've held 5 straight opponents under 20 points. This roster, outside of field goal, they don't really have a flaw. They really don't. Last year, you could run on them. This year, not so much. This receiving core is a 3-headed monster. Cooper Kupp's out for the year for the Rams. All the Chargers receivers are healthy. Steelers. About a month ago, they played Atlanta, and whatever happened, it clicked, because since that game against Atlanta, their pass rush is nasty. They are first in the NFL. I never worry about their offense. Nobody drafts receivers and develops young receivers like the Steelers. I never worry about that. Tight ends, backs, O-linemen. Pittsburgh's fine on the offensive side. And again, this year, they didn't even need Le'Veon Bell. That pass rush now, they have buttoned up the defense. They've won 5 straight, lead the league in sacks. Pittsburgh at 3. Kansas City. Haven't given them a ton of love so far. I do think they beat the Rams. Justin Houston's back. Eric Berry. I don't think they're going to be a great defensive team, but I don't think anybody's a great defensive team. Pittsburgh's the most dominating defense I've seen with Chicago. Chicago gives up big points. Pittsburgh's been run around a couple of times. I just think when it comes to Kansas City, what I like this weekend, they scored the fewest points they've scored all year, 26. I think they're looking ahead of the Rams. They still won convincingly. I'll take Kansas City number 2. I don't think anybody can deny this Saints team is good. Secondary's a little iffy. Run defense, excellent. Offensive line doesn't get a lot of love, but it reminds me a little bit of the Cowboys' O-line about 3 years ago. It just feels a notch better than even good offensive lines. They've scored 96 points in the last 2 games. And by the way, they've had tough games. They play the Vikings emotional. Then they have to play the Rams. And then after the Rams, they have to go to cold Cincinnati. And it's just win after win after win. They've gone to cold areas, Baltimore, cold areas, Cincinnati. They've come home, big game, Saints number 1. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.